Hello, everybody. I'm Mark.
And I'm Angry Rob.
Angry Rob. So you can tell we're going to talk about the Knicks Sixers game today. We're also going to talk about the legacy of LeBron and the future of the Lakers with him and Anthony Davis. And of course, we're going to talk about all the series briefly and the demise of the Suns with Durant and Booker coming up short. So we're going to talk about all that today. But we're going to start, of course, with last night's game, which, regardless of whether you're a Knicks fan or not, that was the best game of the first round of the playoff series. Would you at least agree with that, Rob? The
No.
best. No, okay. Well, anybody that's neutral would say that's the most exciting game of the series, and it even went into overtime. Both the end of the overtime and the end of the fourth quarter were close. So to me, that was the most exciting game of the playoffs so far, and I think that's the most enticing series so far.
Yes,
Even
I think this series is probably the most watched series out of all the series because it's a lot of just the rivalry and the way both teams are playing very hard, which is really that's part of basketball. Both teams are really playing hard.
and this seems to be a coming out party for both Brunson and Maxey. We'll talk about that. Let's go back to game two. So just as a reminder, Rob's a Knicks fan, uh, unabashed Knicks fan, and he seems to kind of like loses his neutrality sometimes. I'm not as big a Sixers fan as he is a Knicks fan because I didn't grow up in Philadelphia, but I've lived here for 30 years. So I'm a little bit biased towards 76ers, but it's not as much as I think Rob is towards his Knicks.
Yes, born and bred Knicks fan. Listen to them on the radio, watch them on TV. So, of course.
And my father taught me as much as possible to try to be as objective as possible when you're trying to rate the game or players or what happened or anything. So I try to do that. I don't always succeed.
Well,
Game two. I think the Sixers had the game one. Let me finish before Rob you interrupt. And I think the refs swallowed their whistle because they were in New York. If that game was in Philadelphia, we'd be talking a 3-2 series right now. The Sixers would be up. There's video showing and a picture showing Brunson grabbing the jersey of Maxey, and then they shoved him down, and they didn't get a call. All they needed was that call, and that game was over with. And that was it. And I understand. And there's always close calls that could have gone either way in a close playoff game, but when it's really flagrant like that and so significant, because the game would have been over with at that point, where you even pushed him down. It's hard. It's hard if you're a Sixers fan or if you're just watching the game to accept the fact that game should have gone to the Sixers if they hadn't swallowed theirs. And I'm not saying that's the only call that could have gone either way. Obviously, one call doesn't make thing, but when it's that significant a call and that bad a call, I tend to say, yeah, the refs robbed the Sixers that game. And I don't usually say that. I don't usually say the refs rob it because I don't think one player, one call can make a game. But that's what my feeling is. Rob obviously feels differently because he's a Knicks fan. But go ahead, Rob.
Well, as a Knicks fan, I'm going to surprise you because first off, like I said, when it happened, I didn't agree. But now that I agree, it was a foul. But now what people have to factor in, you're saying that cost the game and that was it.
Not that.
Wait, let me finish. Wait, I'll let you finish. Wait. Let me finish.
I didn't say that. I said it's never that it. That's it. Because one call, one play can't always make a difference.
Yeah,
but when it's that little time left, and that call would just put the game away, and it was that easy a call for the refs.
If you let me finish.
Okay.
So then, okay, so that happened. The ref didn't make the call, so the play was still going on. But there's still factors into trying to even win the game. They had to get the rebound. That shot had to go in. If the shot didn't go in, you're right. They would have lost the game. Plus, with the rebound,
just called the foul. The game would have been over. There's no way they could have caught up if they called the foul.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
So then after the foul wasn't called. Now all other factors are they have to make the shot. Sixers didn't get the rebound twice or three times. And the factor, if they had gotten the rebounds, also the game would have been over. Also,
I agree.
With the timeout, Lowry, I'm coaching. If they scored the team, if you're a veteran like that, and you call timeout immediately. Just like last night's game, they should have called timeout. But I mean, the timeout, you should have called it, and then the coach to lie and say, "Oh, I called timeout." They didn't have possession of the ball. You got to have possession of the ball to call timeout.
Let me comment on that real quick. It's my understanding that in obvious timeout situations, the refs are always there next to the coach, waiting for the team to want to call the timeout. And this particular ref didn't do that. He was looking the other way and didn't look.
The coach hesitated. The coach hesitated. He was
Yeah,
he was
I'm
like,
just saying that that's the argument.
He was like, well, oh
That's
no.
the argument
And
by
then,
the
he,
other
then,
side
then the
was
ball was inbounded. And then he calls it. So that's on
I'm
him
not. Yeah,
too.
I'm not. That's not my strongest argument. My strong argument is that was such a flagrant, obvious call that it was
Well,
the easiest call in the
with
world to make.
I agree with you, but okay, but I mean, like I was saying, so the call wasn't made. The play keeps going on. In order for the circumstances for it to really even to win the game, you have to make those shots, or everything has to fall into play. The ball had to roll into his hands. He had to get it. He shot it twice. He missed it. Sixers didn't get the rebound. Then he passed it back out, and then he has to make that shot again. So
Right.
I mean,
I will agree. I will agree. The Sixers didn't get the rebounds, and they didn't get the rebounds in Game 4 down the stretch either, which is why they lost Game 4. So I admit that that's part of why the Sixers are down 3-2 is they didn't get the rebounds down the stretch in this game and that game. But I also say rebounds are sometimes luck. It goes off a rim. People like this in a circle, and sometimes it just like pops right over the guy.
They were just standing there. Unfortunately, all three of them, the shot went up, and then Hartstein came in and got the rebound. All three of them were just looking up. No one boxed him out. I mean, it was unfortunately everybody's blaming Joel, but it was mostly Batum because that was his guy. He should have boxed him out. But all
there was a lack of box out. I saw that there was a lack of box out both.
Yeah, all three of them were looking up at the rim, and that's why he came in and got the ball. I'm like, that's not rebounding. That's why
Game 4. I thought last night though they did better at getting the rebound down the stretch and in overtime. They did a better job of it, and I think the Knicks are more have come up with more clutch rebounds than the Sixers in this series. But like I said, it's a hard one to swallow if you're a Sixers fan in that particular game. The Game 4
they go back to Game 2. The foul you're saying. I don't know if you're saying that was a major factor of why the 76ers
lost? It was a major factor in the sense that basically the game was over if they make an obvious call. Like if it's a close call, or if the game's still not over, they still wouldn't have put the game away even if they got in that call. But it was three factors. So much time left, the game would have been over with, and it was an easy major call. So those are three things that make an exception for when I say the ref stole the game.
Don't you think it contribute to them losing? Because like I said, the points I made. Okay, so the call wasn't made. That's one.
Yeah, I mean it's never 100%. It's never 100. I understand that, Rob. It's never 100%. That was the only reason they lost the game. But when I gave you three factors why I make an exception, where I say that kind of was stolen away in that particular situation, that's all I'm saying. But either way,
because when you're playing, you got to until you hear the whistle, you got to keep playing. You can't just assume that the referees are going to say, okay. I mean, they're human beings. Like I said, they're not going to say, oh, geez. And then what do you think about that stupid 2-minute report after the game? Oh, geez, I think you're right. Yeah, there was a foul. Oh, thanks a lot. The game's already over.
Let's move on from that. I've made my point, and I think they'd be up 3-2 if the refs hadn't swallowed their whistle. But they're down 3-2.
No, well, wait. What about Embiid? He should have been thrown out of the game when he flagrant one. He should have been thrown out of the game 3 times actually.
It looked to me like that could possibly be a flagrant two call. He got called flagrant 1. He didn't get called a flagrant. I think in a regular season game he might have been because my brother made that point. In a regular season game they might have called a flagrant 2.
Why regular season game and not a playoff game?
No, I'm not saying it was right not to call a flagrant 2. I'm saying the refs may have called a flagrant 2 where they knew the 1-game suspension the next thing was just going to cost them a regular season game instead of a key playoff game. So that's not right that they did that. I'm just saying maybe that factored into why they did it. They want to hesitate. It's unclear what's right, but they want to hesitate doing a flagrant 2 in the playoffs because how significant. Number one, he gets thrown out of that game, and I think he gets thrown out at the next game, if I'm not mistaken, for flagrant 2.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they want to hesitate. I think the standard has to be higher. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't rise to that level. I'm just saying, that's what happened. Yeah. If that was payback, that was payback. But I don't think they did it for payback. I think they just didn't.
They missed 2 other calls too, where he freaking kneed Hartstein in the groin, and then he shot a jump shot, flopped, and kicked Robinson in the groin. There was 3 calls they missed on it. He should have been out of the game.
Draymond Green get in his head or something like that.
I don't know. Then the other day he stomped on Hart's leg. I'm going, but I told you. Do you know who has the most flagrant fouls in the league, or who's the most, it's Embiid. Everyone thinks it's Draymond Green. It's Embiid. He has the most flagrant, just like last night, flagrant foul. He is the most.
Yeah, last night he wasn't dirty. So let's talk about last night's
Oh,
game.
wait.
Let's talk about last night's game, because this is today. By the way, we're recording this. Today is Wednesday, May 1st. Beautiful sunny day in Philadelphia. I don't know where's the rest of the country. We're recording this today, and so we're going to talk
Virginia, down here in Virginia.
Huh? What
I'm
was
in
that?
Virginia,
and Rob's in Virginia. So the last night the Knicks were up by, I guess, 6, where they got a little lucky because that ball was not out of bounds on Embiid. No, it wasn't out of bounds, Rob. The replay showed it. Both times it wasn't out of bounds. It should have been a jump ball. Who knows? He would have won the jump with his knees being so sore. But
and they missed the call with Batum's off his hand. So I mean, like I said,
I don't think it was a flagrantly bad call. I think at his angle, it was just tough for him to tell.
According to the rules, if you strike the person above the head, that's a flagrant foul. According to the rules, if you're, it doesn't matter if it's not intent or anything. If you're struck above the head, that's a flagrant foul.
It's my understanding all flagrant fouls, intent is part of the reasoning. Have to do
also intent, but also where the foul was committed, which he almost took his head off like it was a basketball. So that was a flagrant foul. It was right.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that needed to be called a flagrant foul when he obviously swiped at the ball. I've seen him where they didn't call flagrant calls on that before, where he just swipes at the ball and he accidentally hits some head. He obviously didn't go for his head.
Yeah, I've seen calls this year where the same thing. The player wasn't intending on when the guy's driving in. He's trying to get the ball, but he whacks the guy in the head. And yeah, like you said, if we're going by the rules, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe you didn't intend to, but you did it. So that's a flagrant foul.
Well, like I said, I think the intent makes a difference. And I know Grant Hill did not think it was a flagrant.
Who cares about Grant Hill? So he doesn't make it right because it's Grant Hill. Who is he? Who is he? Big deal. Grant Hill says it's right. So Rob Glover says it's wrong.
Okay, well, flagrant 1, if you want a definition, involves excessive or unnecessary contact, when flagrant 2 involves extreme or severe contact. So was that really excessive when he basically swung at the ball and missed it? It didn't look
almost knocked his head off. Yeah, I think that was kind of excessive.
Yeah, I don't think he hit him that hard.
Oh, you're not Brunson. Okay, so you don't think he hit him that hard. That's why he kind of just fell on his own.
But intent is supposed to be part of it. But either way, it didn't matter because the Sixers won, so they didn't get the benefit of that call. But they didn't get the benefit of the call, the out of bounds. But like I said, it didn't matter. What really mattered is that Tyrese Maxey is just like Brunson, is having his coming out party, and it's really fun to watch.
He's playing great. I mean, he's my favorite player I'm watching on the 76ers. I really enjoy. So here's my question: do you think having braids helps you play better basketball?
I don't know. If they did, I would have grew them when I was younger.
I know. It seems like all the players that have braids are freaking really good. All of them. I'm like, wait a minute. So I guess.
Well, it seems like a large percentage of the black players do have braids. So by definition, almost a lot of them do. So I don't know.
Is that factoring in the way to?
LeBron doesn't. So and neither does.
Oh, he's lost his hair. He should have shaved. He's losing his. So.
Yeah. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but I would say. I'm not even going to debate about which one's better or anything, but I think they're both playing great. Yes. Maxey's shooting better. He's got a higher shooting percentage, but they're both playing great. They both made a bunch of clutch baskets. Last night, Maxey was unbelievable when they were down by 6 with those 2 3-point shots were amazing. That
half the shot that tied the game with going to overtime. I'm like, oh my gosh, unbelievable. And
the Knicks had a chance after that, but they couldn't get a shot off.
Well. Also with the coaching, I thought coaching down the end was not that well either. Tibbs didn't do a good job at the end with coaching. So, I mean, he should have called. If I was him, I would have fouled Maxey and not let him attempt that 3-pointer.
They talked about that, and I'm not sure why they didn't.
I would have fouled him and let them. I mean, because then you're still up by 2, and then I would have fouled him. That's what.
The other 3-point shot was amazing because he kind of got bumped and he's off angle and he just kind of threw it up and it went in.
What did you see? Kelly Oubre's shot. He drives in. And he slipped and fell and threw the ball up, and he's got 2 points. I was like, wow.
Yeah, he did. And they actually shot well. Both Kelly and Tobias Harris shot well yesterday. They didn't score a lot of points, but they both shot well. And Embiid you have to give him credit for this. He had 9 turnovers, but he had like a bunch of rebounds and four blocks. And, he did come up with some big plays. He was out there hustling. I give him credit for that. I know he's injury prone and he turnover prone in that particular game, but they wouldn't have won the game without him. So if he's out there, his knees
when he goes out, they got to figure that out. That's the only thing with them. When he goes out, they have to really find somebody or something to do when he's out, because when he goes out, it's really a big thing.
The depth to win the NBA title this year, so they're going to have to pick up another player if they're going to win an NBA title.
Who do you think they should pick up? I mean, as a player, do they need another forward or a guard, or who do you think they should pick up?
I don't know. They just need another player. I don't even think it matters. They just need to take some pressure off Maxey because Embiid's hurt all the time.
But you got Harris though. That's why you got Harris.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on Harris because he's not a bad player, but they had Jimmy Butler on their team and they decided which one to keep, and it probably cost them a championship or two. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't know why.
Let's. Anyways, it's 3-2. I guess Rob, you still think the Knicks are going to win, and I'm still picking the Sixers. What the heck? I'm still going to pick the Sixers.
Well,
Rob, here's the thing: when you're the home team and you're up 3-1, you don't lose Game 5 if you don't want to put so much pressure on yourself, because now you know what happens. It goes back to Sixers, and they got a home game. They win that, and then it's Game 7, and anything can happen.
Yeah, but they beat the Sixers in their place. So
I get that. I'm just saying when you're up 3-1 and you're the better team and you got the home court advantage, you got to win Game 5. It's just
wait a minute. Did you just say that they're the better team when you just said before that the 76ers are the better team?
I think the Sixers are the better team with the Knicks not having Randall. Yes. I do. I think they should be up 3-2. I really do.
I was going to your point. I wish that was a point where the Knicks really needed Randall at the end of the game. I think he would have made a big difference if he was in the game. I believe.
Even if they don't win the series, I still think they're the better team. I don't think with Randall it's a different story. I'd have to see, the Sixers miss Embiid for most of the year. What would the record would have been during the regular season with Embiid? I think it would have been pretty significant. It would have been very much the same as the Knicks.
They ended up being in the playoff and playing game, and the Knicks were in second place. So
right, I understand. I'm just saying if they had Embiid all year, I think their record during the regular season would have been probably.
And then if the Knicks had Randall, maybe they'd be in first place.
Maybe I'm the one that argued that they're going to be missing out on Randall more than you did. So. Anyways, here we go. Let's go to some other games because there's some people in the audience who aren't Knicks and 76ers fans, believe it or not.
I can't believe that.
I guess we should start with Mr. King, LeBron. They go out 4-1. I don't think they played poorly. They seemed to have a lot of close games that they lost, but
they led every game they were winning. They had the lead in every game.
They couldn't hold the lead.
They had a huge lead. What was it, 21 points?
And let's be honest, that's what the difference is between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Michael Jordan, if people are too young to have watched his playoff games, the Bulls almost never lost a game where they had any kind of significant lead. I can't remember anything. I can't remember any game where they had a significant lead. They lost them, where they had 10 points or whatever, but they didn't blow 20-point leads or anything like that when Michael Jordan was on the team. And that's because Michael Jordan was the most clutch player in the history of the NBA and the best player in the history of the NBA. Right. But LeBron, you just go back to that Dallas series when he was with the Heat, where they were up in that one game and they had this big lead. I think it was the second quarter, but it was a huge lead. And they lost that game, and then the whole momentum changed on the series. Jordan would never lost that game. No way Jordan would have lost that game.
No, and that goes to your saying of the Michael Jordan mentality. I mean, you sit there. If you're the so-called best, they want to compare him to Michael Jordan. That's why I say no. Michael Jordan has that, otherwise they say Jewish chutzpah, where he goes, I refuse to lose. I'm not going to lose this game. I'm not losing this.
Michael Jordan is the most competitive, most clutch team player in the history of American sports. Yeah, I'm not going to compare it to like soccer or anything like that. I mean, American sports. You could probably say any team sport in the world, but it's hard to compare that with an individual player. But anyway, that's me. I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, obviously. But I have nothing against LeBron as a player. I actually think he's probably the second best player of all time. You could convince me Jabbar is. But
Jabbar's over him.
But either way, he did not. I mean, I don't know. I know he's 39 years old. He's playing great for his age. So I'll give him that. But one thing is that they're playing when they play in Denver though. he can't come out gangbusters and then expect to have the energy left in the fourth quarter because of the Mile High advantage.
Yeah, that Mile High thing. And they're really Denver. I love their psyche. If you're in psychology, how psychic is that? They put the number on their jersey, Mile High, and they put it on the floor.
Right.
And they always remind me, and the announcers, and here we are at Mile High Stadium.
Now,
I mean, it's just like
we can talk about that in a short. We'll talk about that in a short. My brother thinks that they have too much of an advantage, which is there's something to be to it. Anyway, so I don't know what the legacy is for LeBron. I don't know if he's going to stay with the Lakers or try to win a championship with a fourth team. I don't really care. Whatever he does, he does. I'm tired of wondering what LeBron's going to do next with his teams when he moves.
I'm done with him too. I mean, he's not going to win another championship, So I mean, what's he going to do? He wants to play with his kid, I guess. Maybe he'll stay a couple of more years, and they'll force him to draft his kid, so he can play with his kid, which he wants to do.
Well, his kid's not ready, so he has to play another 2 years for his kid to be ready at least. But his kid probably won't be ready for 3 or 4 years. He has really not that good a scorer, from what I understand. He's a very good passer and rebounder, which is good. That shows he's a team player and everything. But he's just not that much of a scorer. He couldn't even start for a college team. I don't know why he's declared for the NBA draft. That's silly.
Right. I know. I'm like, okay.
So, anyways, we'll see what happens. So I want to talk about the Suns because, they put together this team and they're not doing it. Booker's supposed to be this next superstar, and he's not doing anything in the playoffs. Really, I mean, I'm not saying he's playing poorly, but he's not accomplishing anything in the playoffs. And he's got Durant, and they added Bradley Beal, right? Added Bradley Beal, and then they got 3 players that are really good, and they cannot do anything. I mean, they got destroyed.
I think that's the end of the big 3 experiment there, because they thought when they got Bradley Beal and Durant on the team, they're like, okay, we're ready, we're going to win everything. But like I said, I've never seen Bradley Beal play. I've seen him play here in Washington, and he wasn't that great. So
I don't remember the Las Vegas odds or anything, but after they put those 2 together, I think they were one of the favorites, if I remember correctly.
They were. Yeah, they were.
I don't remember the odds. Like I said, I don't remember the odds at the beginning of the year. But
Booker plays no defense. He's hot, and he's also injury prone too. But he plays no defense, and he's got a little attitude where he's always getting like.
Well, none of those 3 are really playing great defense, and Durant he played great defense with the Warriors, but he never seemed to play great defense before and after that. And so, but none of them are defensive players right now, and I think that's why they got crushed against the Timberwolves, who got 3 good players themselves. And they're obviously a threat against the Nuggets, but the Nuggets have home court advantage, and they got four games in Mile High court. It's not Mile Stadium because that's where obviously the Broncos are going to play, and they have an advantage, but not Mile Court, I guess you call it. So we'll see.
Minnesota has the number 1 defense in the league, and they really do. They play very well defense. They switched it over.
All right, so that's gonna be great. That starts Saturday, by the way, if you didn't know, and they play Saturday and Monday. I looked it up. So that to me is a very interesting series. Like I said, I think the Nuggets are gonna lose to the Celtics in 7 games in the finals. That's still my prediction. And but they still got to get by the Timberwolves, and they still got to get by OKC, and there's no guarantee they're going to. And Jamal Murray always gets hurt. It's which is very interesting. Jamal Murray hits 2 clutch shots, so they're a threat to win the NBA title just because they got the best player, and they got Jamal Murray, who's such a clutch player.
Yeah, it's so hard, like you said, but nowadays it's not dynasty. The dynasty thing is gone. It's so hard to repeat. So yeah, it's a rough time for Denver to try to repeat, especially now since the other teams in the West kind of stored up, like you said, Minnesota, OKC. It's not going to be that little cakewalk to try to get in there, because these teams they're young teams. And they're hungry.
Right. So we'll see. Jokic, to me, I'm a fan of Jokic. I think he's a great player. I like his unselfishness. I think he really dominates the game when it's deceptive how much he's dominating a game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that series. So I'm looking forward to it. The other series we'll go over the East, back over to the East again. The Celtics Heat. I don't think there's much to say about that. The Heat won 1 game when they dropped in like 53 pointers or something like that. But they're not going to do that 4 times, so it's 3-1. At some point, that series is going to be over with.
Yeah.
Probably when they play next, which is whenever they play next. I don't know when they play next. It's 3-1. Next game's in Boston, so they're going to play. I guess they play tonight. Miami at Boston, right? So I thought it was tonight. All right. So Dallas is at LA tonight. The Clippers. So that series. What do you think of that series, Rob?
That's an interesting one too. I don't know if Leonard's playing, but Clippers, they're playing pretty well without him, and Dallas.
I don't think Leonard's playing tonight.
Okay, well, yeah, but this one is I mean, it's kind of hard to predict because with Dallas, they got the two players, Irving, and they got Doncic, but I mean, the Clippers play really hard. They have a good coach, and they have some good players still too out there. And surprisingly, Harden is playing his best playoff series he's ever had. That's very surprising.
Harden coming up in the playoffs.
Whoa. Yeah, I know. It's like
stop the presses.
Like, what? I know, really, exactly. Wipe your eyes.
He's come short his entire career in the playoffs. So
yeah.
We'll see, and I've never liked his style of play where he hangs onto the ball for 20 seconds, drives to the basket, puts his shoulder into the defensive player, then cries for a foul and gets the foul call, although he stays.
No, my thing is a step back, the step back walk.
His travel, step back, Jimmy?
Yeah, step back walk.
It's 5-step travel.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and shoot.
Now, like he could be a great player if he learned to give up the ball earlier and more often, and because he turned into a great passer.
No, he's a very good passer. Actually, his assist is not the problem. His defense is, and then he's just consistent.
He's like Kyrie Irving. He doesn't want to play defense. So in Booker. Anyways, that series is interesting, and Luka Doncic was an MVP candidate, like second or third in the MVP, depending on the vote or the Las Vegas odds. And if he wants to have that claim that he maybe should have won it, because some people, there was one video I saw that made some good points that maybe he should. He needs to win this series at least.
Wasn't he? I think he was like maybe just ranked number 5. I think for MVPs. He
moved up after they went on. They won 11 of 12, and he moved up.
Right. Yeah, he was down. Yeah, he was down. I mean, he was really low.
Yeah. But he had a great year, and I do like him as a player overall. There's little things I don't like about him. I don't like the fact that he's overweight. I don't like the fact that he doesn't play a lot of defense, and he whines a lot to the ref.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. He said that. He says I gotta stop talking to the referees. That takes you out of your game if you keep on doing that.
He makes the most of his athletic ability, and and I think he's a great player, especially offensively. So we'll see if they win that series. They win that series, they still have to play the Thunder, who are playing well. So we can talk about that series. They didn't have Zion the entire series because he got hurt in the play-in game. So that series was never going to be competitive, and it turns out it wasn't. They lost 4 straight, which didn't surprise anybody.
No.
So there's not much to say about that series. What other series when we talk about the Timberwolves? We talked about that. Cavs Magic. Well, we should at least mention that it's 3-2. At least it's a competitive series.
This was another good one. I mean, if you want to watch the series, I mean, with Cavs with Mitchell, and they got the young player Bangtower with the Magic. I mean, they got the 2 German guys, the Wagners, Franz, and from Germany. They're helping out a lot.
They don't play again until Friday night. So I just looked that up. I couldn't remember what they played Thursday or Friday. They don't play against Friday night, but it's 3-2. So it's interesting to see what that happens. They're going to play. They're obviously going to play the Celtics unless the Heat win 3 straight. So that will start sometime next week, I guess. So that'll be interesting. I think the Celtics will handle either one of them. I don't think it matters which one of them wins.
Yeah.
The Celtics, as long as we should talk about that. The Porzingis got injured. And they said he's out for several games. So
right, I saw that. Yes.
That means it sounds like he'll be back for the finals if they make it to the finals, but it doesn't sound like we don't know if he's going to be for the next 2 series, several games. So
yeah, poor Porzingis. He's always getting hurt. He's kind of a fragile person there with injuries.
And I guess we should mention we should mention all of them. Obviously, Bucks Pacers. It's the Bucks won last night, shorthanded, surprisingly.
Yeah,
Giannis is injured. Damian Lillard is injured. I can't see them win this.
That was a game. I mean, that's worse than what the Knicks. You were talking about home court advantage. What the Knicks should have won. It was a away game, but with the 2 leading scorers of Milwaukee out, I mean, that should have been a given for Indiana to just take that game last night, but they got blown out.
But that game is that series is 3-2. and what they play tomorrow night, and that's going to be in Indiana. I got a feeling they're going to close it out tomorrow, but we'll see.
They should, but that's why, I mean, like I said, you gotta play the game. All these predictions that we can do, but I mean, they're being a player and then being an athlete. You sit there and you look at how the teams are. You go, oh well, that team should be blown out. That team should lose. But you have to put into the player factor. They're like, oh, I mean, they want to win. They're not going to just lie down and say, oh, geez, we don't have this person. We don't have this person. Okay.
All right. Well, so assuming the Celtics win, I'll take them in 5 games over either Cavaliers or Magic. I'll take the Nuggets in 7 over the Timberwolves. Ooh. And I think the Thunder is going to beat either the Clippers or the Mavericks, but that may take them 7 games too, because we'll see what happens if who they play. And the other series, it's too early to call because I guess it's going to be the Pacers against either the Knicks or the 76ers. But either way, I think either team, the Knicks or the 76ers, will beat the Pacers, in my opinion. So that's
going to be tough. The Pacers are good on offense, but their defense isn't that great.
That's what and the other thing we should mention is the unbelievable amount of major injuries that have taken place, which I think I guess we think we've mentioned them all, but it's just nonstop injuries, and it makes me wonder if the season should be short. That wraps up what we got today. We're going to do another one as soon as all 4 series are set. And thanks for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And please make some comments down below, even if you disagree with us. And we'll be, we thank you. And don't forget to tell your friends about us. And we're looking forward to the next video. We'll have one in the NFL draft and some shorts. All right. Bob, you want to say goodbye?
Peace out.
All right. I won't say peace out. I'll just say, hey.